Summer of 1914 witnessed the rapid escalation of the First World War, as carefully laid plans and alliances led to the full-scale mobilization of European powers. The opening months of the conflict were characterized by significant offensives, shaped by strategies developed in the preceding years. Germany's initial strategy, known as the Schlieffen Plan, was devised to avoid a protracted two-front war by swiftly defeating France before turning east to confront Russia. The plan hinged on a rapid and overwhelming advance through Belgium and into northern France, bypassing the heavily fortified Franco-German border. On August 4, 1914, German forces launched their offensive by crossing into Belgium, directly from Germany and via Luxembourg. Despite the valiant resistance of the Belgian army, which attempted to slow the German advance by defending strongholds such as Liege and Namur, they were ultimately too small to halt the invasion. The German right flank, consisting of 68 divisions, pushed westward with surprising speed and force. The French General Staff, underestimating the strength and direction of the German attack, quickly found their forces, along with the British Expeditionary Force, in disarray. The Battle of the Frontiers, which peaked on August 22, 1914, proved disastrous for the French, who lost 30,000 men in a single day. This battle saw intense fighting along the borders of France, Luxembourg, and Belgium, and it set the stage for the subsequent retreat of Allied forces. Faced with overwhelming German pressure, the French 4th and 5th Armies, along with the British Expeditionary Force, were forced to retreat, abandoning large swaths of territory from Verdun to Paris. Despite the severity of the situation, the retreat was conducted in an orderly fashion, allowing the Allies to regroup and prepare for a counteroffensive. By early September, the German advance had brought them perilously close to Paris, leading to a critical moment in the war. From September 5 to 12, 1914, the First Battle of the Marne unfolded. French and British forces, under the command of General Joseph Joffre and Field Marshal Sir John French, launched a determined counterattack against the advancing Germans. This battle, often referred to as the Miracle of the Marne, saw the Allies successfully halt the German advance and force a retreat back to the Aisne River. The German troops, having failed to secure a quick victory, began to dig in, creating a network of trenches. We will cover the Battle of Marne more in details in our next video. With the front lines stabilized along the Aisne, both sides sought to outflank each other in a series of maneuvers known as the Race to the Sea. This phase of the war, which lasted from September to November 1914, involved continuous attempts to extend the trench lines northward to the English Channel. By the end of November, the Western Front had solidified into a continuous line of entrenched positions stretching from the North Sea to the Swiss border, marking the beginning of trench warfare that would dominate the conflict for the next 4 years. While the Western Front descended into a deadlock, the Eastern Front saw rapid and dramatic movements. Contrary to German expectations, Russian armies mobilized more quickly than anticipated, launching an invasion of East Prussia on August 20, 1914. The initial Russian advance was met with a decisive response from German forces under the command of Generals Paul von Hindenburg and Erich Ludendorff. The Battle of Tannenberg, fought from August 26 to 30, resulted in a crushing defeat for the Russian Second Army, which suffered massive casualties and the capture of tens of thousands of soldiers. Despite this setback, Russian forces regrouped and continued their offensives further south. In Galicia, the Russian army achieved a significant victory at the Battle of Lemberg, now Lviv, in September 1914. They captured the city and occupied eastern Galicia, dealing a severe blow to Austro-Hungarian forces. This success underscored the challenges facing the Central Powers on multiple fronts. The offensives of 1914 set the stage for a prolonged and brutal conflict. The failure of the Schlieffen Plan marked the end of any hopes for a swift German victory in the West. The entrenchment on the Western Front and the continuous clashes on the Eastern Front indicated that the war would be far longer and more devastating than initially expected. The early battles demonstrated the deadly effectiveness of modern weaponry and the strategic importance of coordination and logistics. The immense loss of life and the destruction of vast territories foreshadowed the unprecedented scale of suffering that would characterize the First World War. As the fronts stabilized, both sides prepared for a war of attrition, where victory would hinge not just on battlefield successes, but on the ability to sustain and support their armies over the long haul. These initial clashes in 1914 shaped the strategies and expectations of the combatants, setting the stage for the grueling and transformative years that lay ahead. The world had entered a new era of warfare, one that would leave an indelible mark on the 20th century and beyond.